Hi, fourth grade, it's Mrs. Boswell. We're going to be reviewing partial products today. Some of you, this is the first time you're seeing it. This is just another way to multiply, but kind of show your steps. And I love it because it's just a good way to think about as I multiply each place value. So we're gonna get started. So my number is 215 times 3, okay? And I know that my first number has 3 digits. It has a ones, tens, and it has hundreds. So again, here comes that place value that we want to remember. So I'm going to start here when I multiply, and I'm going to do the first one, because when we multiply, we always start in the ones. So I'm going to take 3 times 5. Because that 3 and that 5 are in my ones, but I really know that I'm taking this whole number up here and I'm multiplying it every time by 3. So my 3 is always going to be important because I'm going to multiply every single number, every single place value by 3. Okay? So I'm first going to start with the ones. So 3 times 5, well 5 ones is just 5. Okay? Well, what is 3 times 5? 3 times 5 is 15. So I'm going to write that. But it's important that you line up those place values. So my 5 goes in the ones and my 1 goes in the tens, okay? So I've lined it up, okay? If you need to draw lines down on yours to help, go ahead and do that because it kind of keeps you organized. So I did the ones place value. Now I need to multiply. So I did the ones. The next step I'm going to multiply is the tens, okay? So I'm going to put it in a different color because that helps me know. So this one is going to be my tens. Okay? So I'm going to come up here and I'm multiplying this number by 3. So it's going to be 3 times. Now I have to figure out what number is in my 10. So I'm going to go up here. The 1 is in the 10. So I have 1 10. Well, what is 1 10? 1 10 is 10. So I'm going to do 3 times 10 because 110 is 10. So 3 times 10 is 30. So I'm going to write 30. 3 and 0. Okay? You see how I'm keeping my numbers lined up because that's very important when you're multiplying. So there's my tens. Now I've done my ones, I've done my tens, and now I need to do the hundreds. So my next spot is the hundreds. I'm multiplying the hundreds. So in this partial product, I'm breaking down each part of it. Okay, so each part is very important. So I've done the ones, I've done the tens, now we're doing the hundreds. So remember, I'm multiplying all my numbers by the 3. So I know it's going to be my first number. So it's 4 times, okay, or I'm sorry, not 4, sorry, 3 times, well, what number is in the hundreds place value? There's that 2. So I have 2 hundreds. Well, 2 hundreds, do I just write it as 2? No, because it says that would just mean that it was a ones. But that 2 is not in the ones, it's in the hundreds. So I need to add 2 zeros behind it to make it 100. So it's 200. So it's 3 times 200 because the 2 is in the hundreds place value. Well, what is 3 times 200? Well, I'm going to kind of look at this. I'm going to look at those first numbers. That 3 and the 2, 3 times 2 is 6. Plus I got the 2 zeros, so that's 600. And I'm going to line them up. Okay? So I've kept everything very lined up, which is super important when you are multiplying. So I have my ones, I have my tens, I have my hundreds. Do I have a thousands? Nope. So am I all done? Almost. Now that I have my ones, tens, and hundreds with my partial product, I need to add those all together, okay? So I'm going to add them together. So 15 and 30 and 600, but I'm going to go one place value at a time. So I'm going to go 5 plus 0 is still 5. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 0 is still 4. And then I didn't carry anything, so just I have a 6. So 215 times 3 is 645. And 5, you're like, but Mrs. Boswell, if I do standard algorithm, this is a lot easier. You're right, it probably is. But sometimes for some of us, and how my brain thinks, partial products make sense to me. And so it's just another way to think of when you multiply. Okay? And remember, in standard algorithm, sometimes when you're multiplying by multiple digits, you want to underline those. Okay? So let's move on to our next problem. And I think I'm going to make this a little trickier. I think I'm going to make it 1,462. And I think I'm going to take that number times 5. Okay? So we're going to do our partial products. And I hope you can see that. I'm going to kind of move it over. Maybe that will help. Okay? So I have that 1,462 times 5. Here's what I love to do. I like to label my place values because it keeps it in my brain. It keeps me organized. So this is the ones, the tens, the hundreds. Ooh, and now I have the thousands. Okay. So I'm going to be multiplying this number by 5. So all my numbers are going to be by 5. So I'm going to start with my ones. Okay. So on my ones, it's 5 times 2 ones. 2 ones is just 2. Well, 5 times 2 is 10. Make sure I'm lining up my place values. Okay, so I've done the tens. Now I'm going to move, or I'm sorry, now I've done the ones. Now I'm going to do the tens. And when you're doing partial product, you do need to write this part out, okay, because that's part of understanding partial products. I do need to see each of those steps. So the next one is, I'm still going to take everything times 5, because that's what I'm multiplying this whole number by. So I've got 5 times 6 tens, okay, so 6 tens is, if you said 60, you're correct. It is not 6 because it is in the tens place value, so that 6 is actually representing 60. 6 tens is 60. So 5 times 6, well, I can just look, or I'm sorry, 5 times 60, I know that 5 times 6 is 30, but I have to add that 0, so that becomes 300, okay? So 5 times 60 is 300, because 5 times 6 is 30, then I add that 0, okay? So it's 300. So I've done my ones, I've done my tens, now I need to do my hundreds. You notice I kind of like to change up my colors, so now I'm going to do hundreds. Okay. So I'm going to go 5 times the number that's in there, so 4 hundreds. Okay, so it's a 4 with 2 zeros to make it 400. So 5 times 400. Well, I know that 5 times 4 is 20, but I have those 2 zeros, so it's 2,000. Okay. So I've done my ones, tens, hundreds. Now I need to do my thousands. Okay. So I'm going to get my other color, and now I'm going to do my thousands. Okay, so I've got thousands. Okay, so it's going to be 5 times, I have 1,000. Well, that's just 1,000, 1 with 3 zeros, right? Well, 5 times 1 is 5, plus add those 3 zeros, so it becomes 5,000. Okay, now I've shown my partial product for ones, my partial product for tens, my partial product for hundreds, my partial product for thousands. Now, did I have any 10,000s? Nope. So now I'm going to add it. So 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 0. 1 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 1. 3 plus 0 plus 0 is 3. And then my 2 plus 5, remember we're adding these, 2 plus 5 is 7. What am I missing? My comma. So 1,462 times 5 is 7,310. Okay, remember you are doing partial products. That is why you're writing out each of these steps. So when you go to our assignment today, you're going to be showing each step. If you want to do this on pen and paper, you can totally do that. Or if you think you can write on the seesaw assignment, you can do that. But my best thing for you is I would suggest writing it on paper and then taking a picture to solve the problems today. Good luck!